It's a bird. It's a plane. Fuck that, there's Batman. Okay, so here's the big movie news. In the Man of Steel 2015 sequel, Superman and Batman team up to kick ass. Now, I have a few theories on that, but first let's talk about Zack Snyder returning to direct Man of Steel. Now, say what you will about Man of Steel, but at least the movie looked good. It was a visually pleasing movie, and the writer of this movie is going to be Zack Snyder and David S. Goyer. And if you didn't already know, David S. Goyer helped to write the Dark Knight trilogy. He also directed the movie Blade Trinity. So I'm willing to bet if Man of Steel 2 does good, Zack Snyder's most likely going to direct the Justice League movie, which is supposed to come out in 2017. Now that's still 4 years away, and it gives Warner Brothers and DC time to get their shit together, but in the meantime, we're gonna get a Batman-Superman team-up movie. We're also going to get a Flash movie. That's right, they also announced that Flash is gonna have his own movie coming out in 2016. Now, I'm curious to see how that goes. I would like to see Bradley Cooper play Flash. I'd buy into that. But the bigger question I have is, who are they going to cast to play the Caped Crusader? Depending on who they cast, that could make or break the movie. They gotta find an actor who can outdo Christian Bale, play the billionaire playboy Bruce Wayne, and play the badass whose parents are dead who dresses up like a bat to kick some ass. When it comes to casting the new Batman, there's so much riding on that decision. I mean, essentially, this actor is going to make or break this billion-dollar franchise. I mean, I just hope they don't cast Armie Hammer. I mean, that was a rumor, but I'm sorry, I don't want to see the Winklevoss play Batman. I mean, come on, did you see the Lone Ranger? I don't want to see this guy put on another mask again. Now keep in mind, this is going to be a Man of Steel sequel with Batman, and I think that's a perfect approach to introducing Batman, because do we really need an origin story again? Absolutely not. Do we need a movie that really explains how he becomes Batman? No, just have Superman there. We already know how he came to be. Introduce Batman into the story, and here's my quick theory. Here's what they should do. Okay, so in Man of Steel 2, I think Lex Luthor would be the perfect villain to bring Batman and Superman together. This guy craves power, and he can almost outwit Superman, but guess who he can't outwit? I think that's where Batman would come into the story, because, you know, Superman can handle the physicality of it, but Batman could come in there with his detective skills and really kind of get to the bottom of whatever scheme Lex Luthor is trying to put on. I have a feeling that because the way Man of Steel ended, where Metropolis is almost destroyed to hell, the guy's most likely going to create a smear campaign against Superman and try to ruin his image. And I think Batman's going to be seeing this from a distance and kind of step in there when he needs to. Now, another thing about Lex Luthor that kind of ties all this together is Lex Luthor doesn't have any superpowers, much like Batman. Also much like Batman, he relies on cash, his power, his wits, and technology to kind of get by. Imagine Lex Luthor in his mechanical war suit fighting Batman and Superman. Now that's a scene I'd like to see. So my final thoughts on the Batman-Superman movie, I think this is the perfect step to take towards the Justice League, because Batman and Superman are essentially the foundation that the Justice League rests on. These are the two most interesting characters, or at least to me they are, and that dynamic relationship between them needs to be built up in one movie, because if you were to throw them both together in the Justice League movie, it might feel a little rushed. So giving them their own movie to build up that relationship, I think is the perfect way to do it, you know? And then you throw them into the Justice League and you kind of have the other superheroes in there, you know, there's Aquaman over there. Hey Aquaman, we see you, yeah, go ride your dolphin or something. And if you can't tell by the shirt, I'm a huge Batman fan, and I think the Man of Steel sequel just became my most anticipated movie of 2015. But I think the entire success of this movie really hinges on whoever they cast to play Batman. I just really, off the top of my head, I don't even know who I would pick. Anyway, guys, here's my question to you. Down below, let me know who you would cast as Batman. And by the way, speaking of Batman, if you haven't already, make sure you check out my last video. It's where me and fellow YouTuber Chris Stuckman, he's Batman, I'm Bane. I'm in a bald cap running around with my Bane mask on top of a parking garage, and we're shooting Roman candles at each other. It's kind of epic, it's kind of cool. Definitely check it out. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.